Hey, welcome back everyone to the Frying Pan Podcast, your favorite pop culture podcast. It's me, your host, Daniel, and I'm here with, you know him.
Hi, it's me. Hi.
That's right. There you go. What was your name? I forget.
Amazon Basics Echo Show.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Amazon Basics Echo Show. We are talking about acquiring the rights to the iCarly theme song, and you said you'd want it. I'm going to say no, because I'm going to guess that to acquire those, I'd have to send feet pic to Dan Schneider, and I don't want to know what he would do with my feet pic.
All right. I mean, sure.
I'm just throwing it on the table.
Is Dan Schneider like the does he own the rights to iCarly or something?
Dan Schneider, he's the creator of all those shows, like the. Did you remember there was a Cat and Sam from like Cat from Victoria, Sam from iCarly spinoff?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that. That's like right when I stopped watching TV, it became a thing.
Yeah, that didn't last long. But yeah, he owns like all the rights to those show, and I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of those shows, there's a lot of feet and like borderline pedophilia shit, and that's because Dan Schneider is a pedophile.
Huh.
So, the more you know.
Well, that's unfortunate.
A little bit. Anyways, what's new and exciting, bud?
New? Nothing much. Exciting? Well, it seems like my workplace is falling apart or something like that. I just got a text from my manager like, "Hey, so and so quit. So what are you doing this weekend?" And I'm like, sorry, I requested it off and currently have it off because you gave it to me off because you know I'll be out of town, right?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry."
Oh, is there any way you could just not be out of town?
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I can't knock him for asking, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's like, shut the fuck up, Dave. I took the weekend off. I'm taking the weekend off.
Yeah, Patricia, eat it.
You dumb idiot.
Dumb, dimmy dumb.
Something like that. But
yeah,
what was the experience you had where you were closing one night and then your manager decided he was done?
Oh, okay. You want to hear the story again all over? Because it got even more spicy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go all of it, but you can give me a nice little synopsis.
All right, I'll try and spark notes it. So, Sunday night, I'm working by myself when you're not supposed to be, because my coworker left early. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm holding this shit down, waiting for the third shifter to come in and take over, because I work in a 24-hour convenience store on the weekends. And it's like probably 15 minutes after that person's supposed to be there, and when I'm supposed to be clocking out, I'm thinking, oh, I should have been home by now. Or clocked out by now. I'm like, okay, well, I'll try and call the person and see where they're at. So give him a call, no answer. I'm like, shit, alright. Tries to call the assistant manager who is supposed to cover in case anything like that happens. She doesn't answer. I'm like, alright, I'll hold it down for another 10 minutes. Maybe they're just running late. And I hear nothing. Try calling the assistant manager again, nada. So I'm like, fuck it, gotta call the manager. And this guy is like probably the biggest ball of stress I've ever come in contact with when it comes to managing the place where I work, because it sucks. Anyways, he's like, alright, let me make some calls. I'm thinking, alright, he sounds like he's not in a bad mood, so this will probably get resolved, and I guess I'll just have another hour of time under my belt. And 3 minutes later, I get a text basically saying, I'm so fucking sick of this shit. Everybody calling out and all that jazz. And I'm like, okay, that's startling, getting that from my manager. And then at the bottom of the text is just, I quit. And I'm thinking, huh, I don't know what to do in this scenario.
Well, okay, also, why are you texting your employees saying that you quit?
Yeah, I mean, granted, me and him have or on the closer side, but that's kind of what, like, that's what everyone else was saying. Like, why would he text me and not, like, text his boss? Because that's the thing. He put it on me to call his boss, whom I've never met or talked to before, to then inform him of the situation. So, meanwhile, I'm like...
Kind of whack.
I'm the only one in the store as well. There's no one else there with me. So, I'm still trying to, take care of customers that are, like, it was brutal. It was brutal. In long story short, that person that was supposed to show up ultimately did show up anyways, so, like, man quit for no reason. Just a person being a few hours late without telling anybody. But,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're not just casually a few hours late.
That's true. That's true. But to top it all off, that assistant manager, right? Who, who never answered her phone, became, quote, became the manager of the store after that, right? And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And she almost had really power trip, was just like, called me into the office and she's like questioning me about what happened. And like, I don't know, I don't really want to get in the middle of the situation because I didn't want to fuck around with upper management because, like, it's an entry level job. I'm literally in and out, you know what I mean? But
yeah, it's not like this is a career.
She goes on to, like, she's like leaning back in the office chair, clasps her hands together and goes, "I'm taking over the store. I'm the manager now." No joke, in that order. And the only thing that was keeping me from dying laughing is the fact that her eyes were literally just piercing into my soul.
Like, oh fucking K, Hitler, go for it. I don't give a shit.
Like, it was like the "look at me, I'm the captain now" meme.
Literally.
But to top it all off,
oh my god,
I'm like, okay, that's cool. I don't work for another 5 days or 6 days. Come back in. My old manager's now back in the position that, and the previous manager that, like, freaking was starting the hostile takeover, nowhere to be seen, and I have no clue what the hell happened.
like literally tried to start a dictatorship, and then they're like, "No, honey, no," and she's like, "Oh, fine."
Like,
I quit instead.
But that's the thing.
But I wonder,
you know, it's bad when they'll hire back the person that just on the spot quit through another employee because they'd rather have that person than the one previous.
I love that shit. I wonder if that's a viable strategy to just, like, walk into your business or where you work and just, like, go sit at the your manager's desk or, like, the head honcho of the business and just be like, "I'm the manager now." And then when they try to question it, you're just like, "Nope, you have to listen to me."
Just full on hostile takeover.
Yeah, and they're like, "You're fired," and it's like, you can't fire the manager. Security, get him out of here.
I'm calling the police. I am the sheriff.
Yeah, I run this saloon.
We run this city.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a great story. I love shit like that.
Dude, meanwhile, I'm still thinking, though, like, it was like, what, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe? Probably 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard much about it since, right? But tensions are still at, like, an all-time high because of it. But no one wants to talk about it, and people are now quitting left and right. New people are coming in, and then they're either A, getting fired, or they quit on the spot. And I'm just sitting there, like, doing my job, head down, and everyone just fucking loves me for it. But at the same time, people seem to be like, "Hey, why is this guy not getting any shit for what's happening?" But
it's also like,
chilling.
Motherfucker, I'm big chillin'. You guys gotta take a page out of my book.
Dude, that's literally my attitude there, and everyone, like, almost shrivels when they come in contact with it.
Well, they're just like, "How's this man not stressed out for no reason? I don't understand."
That's the thing, because in a job like that, where you're working like a gas station, if you get stressed out easy, or you let yourself get stressed out easy, it's just not gonna be a fun 8 hours, you know?
Well, to be fair, that's like every job ever.
That's definitely true, but it's more like just because you come in, like, it's literally 30-second interactions. If you're stressed out from those when you're doing the entry level thing that I am, like, the fuck's the point? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I remember like when I was 16 and I was a cashier and I had like a bad interaction with the customer, that shit would sit with me like when I first started, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, how did I mess up that bad?"
Oh,
Like,
dude,
shit
I
like that.
feel
But then,
I felt that, dude.
yeah. But then after like a few months of working there, because there was like shitty customers that would come in and I recognized them, and if they like gave me an attitude, I was just like, "Have a nice day, sir."
Jeez.
It's like I do not fucking
I
care.
feel that. My first month there, I would just come home always frustrated. I'd be like, I'd walk in the house and be like, fucking old white people calling me, telling me to fucking how to fucking do my fucking job. You know, just mumbling to myself like an old, angry, middle-aged man.
I feel that.
But we big chillin'. We're making that bread while watching that the place burn down at the same time.
We'll work on
Yeah.
it. You wanna jump into some topics?
Sure. I mean, if you got nothing that's going on in your life that's interesting,
I do not. Nothing of the sort, and that's fine.
okay, that's perfectly fine. You boring fuck.
That's me, baby. But this one we kind of meant to talk about last week, but we forgot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But Walmart pulls their violent video game signs in the wake of the mass shooting. But they're gonna keep selling guns.
Jesus.
'Cause I love this shit.
So, what's your take on it?
I don't understand how getting rid of guns is never in the discussion when it comes to gun violence. But it's like every other out of left field thing possible comes to mind. Like oh, the killer listened to Adele. We need to get rid of Adele. She has to be executed, and just shit like that. And it's like, that's not, like, there is a simple solution to all of this. It's just the fucking whiny Confederate flag yeehaw truck gun carriers. That was a little stereotypical, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, you fucking racist.
Yeah, racist to white people, a real issue in our country. But I never understand how whenever like shit like this happens, and it happens pretty fucking often, that it's never, hey, maybe we just get rid of guns.
So, yeah, I feel like, okay, I feel like the only reason why it's so hard to get rid of guns is quite literally only because it's the Second Amendment, and that is that.
Yeah. No, like I agree on that entirely, and like, yeah, if you want to go to a shooting range, go for it. But I don't think there's I don't know. Like, if you do away with guns, there's literally no reason to be walking to Starbucks with a fucking AR-15. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that picture,
yes,
but it's just, that shit doesn't make any sense.
Well, like, even, like, do away with high-capacity magazines. No one needs to, like, okay, if you're a hunter, if, I saw, someone say it on Twitter, if you're a hunter and you need a 100-round magazine to take down a deer, then you should just try fishing at that point.
Yeah, you fucking suck. You actually just fucking suck.
You don't need high-capacity magazines. You don't need fully automatic weapons, like, as a civilian, that is.
Well, yeah, like, I'm not. That's why, like, all things of like high capacity mag, like shit like that. Just there's shooting range for a reason. If you want to go shooting, go there.
Well,
I don't know. If you're like, say, if you're in Maine, you live in the middle of like bumfuck nowhere. I don't give a shit if you want to shoot your guns. But when you're living in like populated areas, there's no reason to be walking around with an assault rifle. I don't know, even a pistol for that matter, unless like you're an officer. That's just my opinion, I guess.
I feel like... Excuse me. That was a aggressive sneeze. Like, I'm in the like, I kind of want the happy medium. I don't think all of them should be taken away just because that will just leave a lot of people very... Like, I feel like safety should be the main priority of everybody. Mm-hmm. But I also think that there is a certain degree that we should retain the right to own firearms, but only to a certain degree.
Yeah. It's just, I find it very hard to find that happy medium for, like, because I know the main thing is they're trying to get background checks, like they're trying to up that a lot to where it makes it harder to own a gun.
Well,
But
when
like,
you're looking at these shooters, like they're, you know, what, between the ages of 18 and 25, I mean, they haven't had much time of any to really do anything wrong to have a background check be a red flag, you know?
yeah, that's true, and it's also the majority of. I don't know if majority, but a lot of shooters of that age just get it from their parents. They get the guns from their parents
Mm. Like,
or someone
I
they
feel
know.
like a good place to start is doing away with like high capacity mags, and I guess kind of just cracking down more on the open carry laws like you were talking about. Like that picture in Starbucks should never be needed. In this day and age, if you think you're like funny or asserting your dominance by walking around with an AR just strapped to your back, like, and then you're trying to be like, I'm one of the good guys. Well, fuck you, in my opinion, because how is any right-minded person supposed to know if you are, quote, one of the good guys, you know?
Exactly, and also if you carry that around because you feel threatened that you could, like, you walk into a Costco and it could be shot up at any time, and you're going to be the saving grace because you have that AR-15 on you.
Like,
No.
well, see, okay, I feel like at that point you have to do kind of, like, if you are afraid enough to want to carry around an AR-15, just because the slight chance that it'll, well, I say slight chance, but unfortunately these things
Mhm.
happen every day, it seems like, but
Yeah.
it it it's almost so convoluted that it doesn't make sense because it makes sense. Like if there were stricter gun laws, then you wouldn't have to worry about carrying a gun around to protect yourself. And then with circular reasoning, if you didn't have to carry a gun around to protect yourself because of stricter gun laws, then gun violence would go down because the access, like it's, you know, you get what I mean?
No, I understand
Like
entirely.
it feeds
I
off each
mean,
other.
yeah, like piggybacking off that a little bit, I also think it's just fucked up in general that you'd be a-okay with killing someone to defend yourself. Like I understand like you got to do what's best for yourself, but the fact that like killing someone isn't that difficult for you is also semi-alarming.
Um,
But I
do you
think
think
that's
that?
just nitpicky.
See, I don't want to try and sound like one of those internet badasses, but I feel like I wouldn't have a problem ending the life of someone else who completely disregards the life of many. Like to the point where they're if they're trying to take lives, I feel like I as a person would have no problem putting a stop to that.
Yeah, no, I understand that entirely, but it's like my thing is that you're essentially putting yourself at like the forefront to be the defender of that situation.
Well,
Like the majority of people, like if I'm thrown into the situation like fight or flight, yes, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But you're kind of just like the center of attention for it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
kinda like it's more like the modern day badasses type of thing where like if you like yeah it's cool in theory but the way we stigmatize things you kind of just look like a douche, at least that's the way I see it.
And that's the way a lot of people see it.
All I know is I just want to be safer I
Yeah.
want my friends and family to be safer, you know, like hell all I would say what half of our group of friends still go to college, right? Around half.
Yeah.
And what's a primary target group? You know, places where there's large groups of people. And I think of all my friends, or even myself, that you know is in that situation. All that goes, you know, it's part of their daily life to go into those high capacity areas that would be a target for such tragedies. So
Yeah. But
I just wanted to be safer,
sorry,
is
you go.
all, I guess.
I understand that. Where do you? Because a lot of the argument is that it's not actually like obviously it's guns, but it's more or less like the background checks needed for guns. But also a lot of people chalk it up to like the media that a lot of people consume is what I don't know incites a lot of the
Oh, okay.
violence.
So
And I just want to know what you
on
think of
that
that.
subject, so that this is kind of like back to the root of what we were was talking about with Walmart bans their video game section type of thing.
Yeah.
So I feel like what we are exposed to does play a part into it, but when you're talking about things that are so obviously wrong, like people, like something that makes people unique as opposed to wild animals is that we have a moral compass that points to a right or wrong. We have the concept of right or wrong. Like it kind of circles back to that John Locke idea of are people inherently good or are people inherently evil, right? And then, like if you apply the logic of what makes people evil to say like a tiger, it doesn't make sense because a tiger has no conception of right or wrong because it just does, right? Are you following?
Yeah.
That wasn't meant to sound condescending,
I'm on board.
by the way.
I was going to say, I was like, yes.
I was just trying to make sure it didn't sound like a freaking raving loony. Anyways.
No, it makes sense, obviously.
So with that in mind, us as people having the ability to determine what's right or wrong, I feel like everyone's innate moral compass, as long as they're not any form of mentally deranged or, something wrong cognitively, they should be able to tell that even if you are playing violent video games like GTA where you can mow down cities of people, that staying in the game is fine, but taking it out into real life is wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And like you said towards the end of that, is the majority of incidents come from people that are mentally ill. And it's not like, obviously, like, mental illness is serious, and we do what we can to get better off that. But, like, a lot of it is just not sane, like, psychopaths to where, I feel like something like that is just, it doesn't matter what you try to censor, like, people will find a way to find what they're looking for no matter what.
Well, yeah, and a lot of it stems from hate as well. Like, it's, like, okay, take that attack on the Japanese animation studio, right? That was just an attack based on needless hate and almost just insanity of a, one-party person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't the media that he consumed that caused him to, have that. It was outside factors, environmental factors that just so happened to be around at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, a lot of these things are just, I don't know. I feel like it all stems back to just there are awful people in the world and there isn't much you can do about that. But if you can, I don't know, it's just the way I view it is like, if you can limit the way they can harm people, then I guess that's a win in its own right. But I don't know, everything is just a band-aid at the end of the day, because I don't think there's a definite way where you can stop things like this from ceasing to exist unless you, I don't know, just kind of ruin society as it is and just reshape it entirely.
Well, that's definitely a fair statement. It's, I want to say the media is to blame for a decent bit of things.
Yeah, I would agree.
I seen something recently that was trying to make a case that it's technology's fault for all these mass shootings and hate and whatnot, because if you look at the statistics over time and all the mass killings and throughout time, obviously the overwhelming majority of them are in the last 15 to 20 years, right? And they'll say well, video games weren't really that popular 20 years ago, or shit like that. It's like, yeah, but that's when you look at gun control things and more. I don't know the statistics, but I'm willing to bet that in the 70s, AR-15s weren't really the hot commodity with 100-round magazines. You know what I mean?
I feel that, and
other
also
factors.
Yeah, and it's not like, killing just started 15 years ago, because I don't know, listen to any true crime podcast, and the majority of serial killers that are racking up 15, 20 kills span from early 1800s to 1990s was like the last big ones to happen because of technology, to be honest.
Mm.
It's harder to get away with that shit, but that's pretty unrelated. Just
No,
that it's not like killing is a new thing.
yeah, definitely. And like, if you're like trying to blame violent video games for people acting violent, like, yeah, that could be an element of exposure, but it's all about the environment you're in and who's making sure that your moral compass points the right way. You know what I mean? Like, it's how you're raised, how the environment around you is affected. If you're born into a family that is just hateful and racist, you're gonna come out hateful and racist.
Well, yeah, you're a product of your environment.
Exactly.
Kind of
And
deal.
in this day and age of such extremism, like, I feel like we're in a time where people are always like, 90 to 100 on most things, and that is that. Like, there is no touch and go type of stuff. I feel like we're pretty in it on most things, right? And
Yeah.
with the media that we have and social media and platforms for these young people who have been born into these hateful and racist families to kind of meet and communicate and kind of let their worldviews fester without having someone point out that their moral compass is flawed because they're too young to even really have that experience, if that makes sense.
No, like I don't want to pin it on like parenting, but if you know your child is like fairly mentally unstable, you shouldn't be putting him in an environment that would just further him going downhill.
Well, exactly. It's more about like awareness and letting people know that like hate isn't okay.
Yeah.
At least
I
to the
don't know,
point
it's-
where it becomes physical.
Yeah. I mean, like, hate is inevitable for most people, but it should never be like a lingering thing that's constant.
Mm.
Like, if it's like the majority of these people, it's just a constant thing in their life, and that's what they know, and they lash out from it.
Mm.
It's not enough love, man. We just gotta be hippies. Just gotta throw it back.
Well, I feel like that kind of goes back to like that we're always so into everything nowadays. Like, you don't
Yeah.
you don't just hate like, I don't know, tea, like green tea. You hate every tea. You know what I mean? Or it's like, I just don't like tea, or I just don't like this group of people. Not, I don't like this one person. It's, I just don't like this group of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I
we
got
always
you.
try to generalize.
Yeah. I don't know. Shit like this is probably as serious as we'll get on this podcast, but it's
Mm.
something that we wanted to talk about. Try our hand at
Mm.
being a little more I don't know.
As our podcast, we're part of the media. We're part of influencing people. It affects everybody.
Yeah, it's also like stuff like this is it's good to talk about it instead of just like, oh, there's another one. Can't wait for the next one because shit like that's gonna happen. But I don't know. We never seem to be making any progress, and that's the most frustrating thing. Is because like there's a lot of good ideas out there that just never seem to get acted upon because of say it doesn't better us financially or we can't all come to an agreement on something.
Well, so on most big media, from what it sucks that this is a good thing, but with the last few shootings, I've noticed that the name of the shooter hasn't been really talked about or disclosed much, and I feel like that's a big part of it as well. Like, I like, obviously these shooters are trying to send a message through blood and violence and tragedy, and they kind of go into expecting their name to be kind of like said and remembered and revered the same way it's been in the past with these shootings. But
Oh yeah.
I feel like if we always just, we keep the names out of our mouths, we keep the pictures out of it, like, the only time we ever refer to them is as the shooter, and we kill all media coverage that would really try and get a potential person to romanticize that subject to really not think too much about it, because there is nothing to romanticize. They don't see the names, they don't see the pictures, they don't get to idolize.
Yeah, like that's what a lot of the motives seem to be, is that they wanted to like quote unquote leave a mark,
Mm.
which is disgusting, but that's how some people just work.
Yeah, honestly, fuck people, man.
Yeah, not big fuck people. I'm with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that just I don't know. It sucks because I don't want to say like something drastic has to happen, because a bunch of drastic shit has happened. It's just like nothing's changing yet. But who knows? If we're optimistic enough, maybe it will.
Well, to be honest, since we're already on the subject of stuff that's pretty much fucked and depressing, yeah. You hear about Epstein? Or Epstein, how the fuck
Honestly,
that name is said?
I think it's Epstein. Honestly, not that depressing, because that dude's a fucking piece of shit.
There's some more parts that are depressing about it, I guess, more than anything. So,
yeah. Well,
hmm?
here, you can take the reign if you want.
So I was just gonna say, for those who don't know, Jeffrey Epstein has committed suicide. Quote, committed suicide in prison while under suicide watch while he was awaiting his trial or whatever for his, like, what, pedophile ring or whatever?
Yeah, it was a whole thing where like it was like he had an island and he would fly kids to the island and shit like that. It was disgusting.
Well,
But he was
no, you go for it. You got this.
Oh, I was gonna say he was friends with like a lot of people, like wealthy people, like the Clintons, and there's the whole conspiracy theory that a lot of people that like know the Clintons and do bad things, they get killed off.
Yikes.
So yeah, that's one of them that's going on right now. But
well, for the people who are trying to be like, oh, it's just another conspiracy theory. Well, I saw here's a tweet from, I guess, kind of like a blogger. His name is Matt Walsh. And I feel like this kind of puts it in perspective, the point where you can really, like, you either pick what you think about it here. It reads, a global sex trafficker who could implicate some of the richest and most powerful people on Earth as pedophiles died in his jail cell while under suicide watch in federal prison on the very night that his case files were unsealed. That should, like, really make you think, like, something's going on there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the bells and whistle and the red flag flying around like, hey, maybe, just maybe, this isn't the greatest coincidence in mankind. He just casually committed suicide under suicide watch.
Like, the way suicide works, like, you're not alone for more than 15 minutes at a time. Like, there's just a lot of factors. Do we even know how he committed suicide yet?
I don't think so. I remember he tried to hang himself, so I don't know if he tried to do it again, but I really don't think they gave a cause of death, you know what I mean? Like obviously suicide, but like how he did it. To my knowledge, at least, but I also don't see anything in the article, and I haven't seen anything, so... Oh, no. I don't know, actually. I think he did hang himself again, but also that's not... There's no way you can get away with that twice, you know what I mean? There's no way you could be put in a situation where you have the opportunity to do it twice.
I mean...
like, in his scenario.
Yeah, a lot of it just doesn't make sense, I guess.
No, it doesn't add up. Like, it's interesting that the conspiracy theory makes a lot more sense than the actual, what's been given.
Well, I guess the only reason why you would call it a conspiracy, really, is just because even though it seems obvious and eminent that there was something else at play, and it wasn't just a run-of-the-mill suicide, which is tragic to say it that way, but the reality, the actual fact, or I guess the situation, is painted to be a suicide. So if you think it's something else, then you're a conspiracy theorist, right?
I think so.
Is that how that works? I don't know.
I wish I knew, but I'm just kind of big chilling here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Shit like this one's really interesting to me. I really hope that some insane shit comes out in the next week or so.
Alright. You know, to be honest, I kind of don't and do at the same time, because, like, are we gonna, like, I'm thinking, are we gonna have, like, another civil war or some shit? Like, the world, like, our country is so fucked up in so many weird ways.
In so many different directions at the moment, it's actually insane.
Like, we're really getting flanked and fucked on all ends just by all this needless hate and bullshit and fuckery that, like, me as a person, I'm just kind of confused that this is all going on in our country, in our backyard, and I'm just living my daily life as I would no matter what. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when it comes to news, but, like, honestly, like, shit like this is, like, the amount of underground, like, black market shit that happens in our country that we have no idea about is insane.
Well, I'm sure that can be said about most countries, right? But
Yeah.
when, like, a quarter of the story gets out in the news, it just makes you wonder, or worried at the very least.
Yeah, I agree to that. Honestly, glad he's dead. Fuck this guy.
Oh yeah, fuck
but I would have liked to have. Yeah, I would have liked to known who else was in this man's room.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to have gotten the name of other pedophiles. Well, I said as if I would personally be doing something, but, like, you know what I mean.
Robert D'Onofrio, pedophile hunter.
I'm the dog.
You're the
big bad dog. You know what that's?
You're like, is that dog the bounty hunter?
It is.
You know he passed away.
Dude, that was low-key kind of sad.
Honestly, yeah. He had the best hair in the game. I'll give him that.
Yeah, guy was totally fuckable. What? Huh?
What? Yeah. Next.
That was weird. You hear that wind? It almost sounded like a voice.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah,
but
crazy.
Instead of Dog the Bounty Hunter, I was gonna say you're the edgy Chris Hansen, to where, like, you'd have your own show where you'd, like, bait pedophiles in, and then, like, you just pin them down. You're just like, so what are you gonna do here, huh? You just have, like, a knife to his
The
throat.
Batman of pedophiles.
What are you gonna do tonight?
Oh boy, okay. Sound like
that was really Batman. That was more Satan. But
that was like the frickin' the Chamber of Time, or whatever the hell it's called, from Aladdin. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah. I was trying to go for the, remember that Comedy Central skit of the Batman where it was like, where are the drugs going?
No.
Do you know?
No, I don't.
You can't. You have to know what I'm talking about.
Well, okay, we'll have to watch it after this episode.
Yeah, that was like A1 middle school. But here, I want to jump into something that's a little more uplifting. We're straying away from sad news, so don't worry. Only light from here on out.
Is it only light from here on out?
Well, for this one at least. Pokemon card set sold for $107,000.
Can you, like, was this, like, literally a collection of every Pokemon card, or what?
No, this is they were limited first edition. Like, there's no way you could get these cards unless you were, like, when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he had I think the main one was a first edition Charizard, and it can sell for over $10,000 on its own.
Jesus Christ!
I know. It's like I wonder what the market is on, like, all card games, because I know Pokemon has, like, a really high market for, like, the reselling of, like, original ones, but I think Magic the Gathering also has, like, nutty like, first edition $6,000 shit like that.
I find, like, so I'm not trying to beat down the hobby of collecting cards and stuff like this all the time, but it's kind of it's like the way comic books work. You know what I mean? Like
that it's nice to collect, but there really isn't a use for it, kind of deal.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of what collecting stuff is, really, right?
Yeah, no, to be fair, you're right.
But when things are only worth money because there's not many of them, but because people realize that stuff can make money, now everyone, holds on to stuff like that, or even then, printing companies just make obscene amounts of them, so they're not even rare to start.
Yeah. Well, that's like, baseball cards, for example. I have so many like old school baseball cards, and me and my dad are just holding on to them to that maybe in like 15 years we'll have like $500,000 just chilling in our house. But this also, did you ever try and play the Pokemon card game?
Dude, this shit didn't make any sense.
It made literally no sense. Like, it was, you had the cards, and then you had a coin, and then they gave you, like a fold-out arena kind of deal, but it never made any sense to me.
Dude, I had no absolute concept of how it even worked. Like, I would just be like, I would be with my friends, and we'd basically play it like war, and it'd be like, alright, my ability does this, and you only have this amount of HP, so, like, I win, right?
Yeah, which is like, that's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works, and I'm pretty sure Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the less popular of the two, but their card game was just like...
I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a more popular card game.
Yeah, well, it definitely had a more popular card game, but I feel like Pokemon as a whole was a lot more popular than Yu-Gi-Oh!
It definitely is, you know.
But, like, because Yu-Gi-Oh! It was, you do this much damage, you take this much damage, or you do this much damage, you do that damage, or it's like, you have a trap card, you put the trap card down. It's just like, it was simple, and it was easy, and like, you didn't have to do a bunch of reading, but Pokemon is like, combine 3 psychic energies together, do a backflip, and go give Aunt Susie a kiss, come back, and then you can use Confuse Ray, which has a 20% chance of hitting if you do your taxes correctly, and it's like,
yeah,
chill the fuck out, okay?
Pokemon's one of those things where it's only fun in video game form.
Yeah. Hey, nothing beats fucking first time I played Pokemon Fire Red or Pokemon Coliseum on the N64.
I'm over here.
Where it was like,
never have played a Pokemon game before.
You know, I don't blame you. We all had our things when we were starting out.
Yeah.
You weren't a big Pokemon or Nintendo guy, and that's fine.
Yeah. What were you saying about Pokemon Coliseum?
That I loved it. It was for the N64, and it was like everything was just blocks. It was the good old days. And they also had like mini games for Pokemon, like that fit the theme for them. It was good for its time. It was impressive.
Interesting.
Yeah, you sound over the moon excited to hear about fucking Pokemon Coliseum.
No, it's because I'm looking it up as well. And you're not kidding. It's definitely all blocky and shit.
It was so much fun. Well, and then they made like new ones they made one for the GameCube. They made one for the Wii.
The GameCube one.
The one for the Wii
smacks.
was bad. Which one? Gale of Darkness, or is that one Coliseum too?
This one. It looks like it has the Pokemon. It has like the 3 like fucking Raikou.
Oh, the dogs.
Yeah, the 3 dogs, and then
3
it looks
dogs?
like it has the ones from Pokemon Black Pearl. There's a whale, a big fucking whale, and a red dragon looking or dinosaur looking thing.
Oh yeah, that's Kyogre and Groudon. That was Ruby Sapphire. That was third.
Shit. Okay, never mind. I'm dumb and dumb.
Yeah, you're good. But I think where Pokemon peaked is when they released Pokken, which was a Pokemon fighting game. Yeah, Pokemon Coliseum.
That game was actually so fun, though.
It was. I played a lot of it, actually. Like, I got it, and then I played it for, like, probably 8 hours straight, because I had so much fun for some reason.
It had a lot of potential to be really fun if they took the time to actually add in enough mechanics to where it would be interesting.
Yeah, that was the thing. It wasn't that in-depth, which felt kind of bad. But I guess they still have, like, tournaments for it. Like, they have, like, side tournaments for it when you go to, like, main, like, Smash Bros. Events kind of deal, like, fighting games.
Well, Smash is a dead game, so, yeah.
Yeah. Can't all be Mortal Kombat.
Can't all be MK, the superior game. That's an inside joke for anyone that knows it. So, shoutouts.
Shout out to you guys. My other one that I want to touch on quickly is that K-pop stans will probably they'll probably be dying at an alarming rate sooner or later because BTS decided they're taking an extended break from music.
Okay.
Now, I don't give a shit about this, and I know you don't give a shit about this, but I wanted to paint the picture of imagine if all the K-pop fans got together and just rioted. Do you think our military could stop them?
Well, no, definitely not.
Well, so, yeah, that's why I'm like, I feel like this should be a lot bigger news. Like, it is big news for people that care, but like, I feel like it should be a lot like bigger news because I feel like if they all team up together, they could form like one giant human mech and just take over the world.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of human mech, I saw a post online that was like, we're all piloting a human mech right now made out of bones and flesh, and our brain is just the pilot. Like that.
That kind of fucks you up a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's just gross to think about.
It is gross to think about, and so I will not think about it. But I'm thinking of like giant human Gundam.
So
Just
you're saying like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers type shit?
yeah, but it's like the millions of them like all form together, and they just become one giant K-pop unit.
Huh.
And
Huh.
how do you?
Is
I don't think.
do we know why they're taking a break in general? Is it just like they're taking a break?
I think it's just fatigue because they like ever since they've come onto the scene, they've put out like single after single. So I think they're just taking a little break.
Well, I've heard that K-pop stars have like one of the worst working conditions you can have in the entertainment industry. So,
yeah, like a lot of K-pop is the performance that they put on too. So learning a lot of like choreography and shit like that too, on top of writing music might take a toll on you.
And I heard like some K-pop contracts, like you don't even get to keep the rights to your own body. Essentially, like they can make alterations to your appearance as your managers see fit.
That would not surprise me because a lot of them just kind of look like dolls. So, but I don't hope they recover. I'm just terrified for the K-pop stan uprising to where they take over the world, and the only music that can be played is BTS.
You know, I haven't even listened to many BTS songs just for science purposes. Like, I'm not really into K-pop that much in general, but I'll still give it a listen every now and again just to see if I do end up liking it eventually.
Yeah, I know there's a couple songs that I liked. Not enough to like slap on a playlist, but like every once in a while and just be like, oh yeah, this bangs.
Yeah, like it's nice to listen
yeah,
to music
sure.
that you don't really understand from time to time.
Yeah, like pirate metal. That's one that I'll like tune into every once in a blue moon. And I'm like, yep, this is what I wanted in life.
Dude, when I was driving to Maine, the first like hour was just pirate metal at 4 a.m.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, pirate metal, and then I think there's Viking metal, and I guess there's a distinct difference between the two.
What was that?
But they both slap. There's pirate metal, and then there's like Viking metal.
I gotta listen to some Viking metal, hell yeah.
Yeah, because I guess there's a distinct difference in the two, and I'm like, yeah, I'm around for both, so don't worry about
Spaghetti.
it. Betty Spaghetti.
Betty Spaghetti. Holy shit.
You want to talk about Danny Trejo picking up a car with one hand and then ripping a child out?
Oh, okay. So I thought this was just kind of cool because Danny Trejo is like the guy from Machete. He's like the old Hispanic guy that's like an action star that has like the handlebar mustache and cool accent. Anyways,
he's the kind of person you'd only recognize if you saw him, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I had no clue his name was Danny Trejo until I opened up this article, to be quite fair.
Yeah.
But there was just an overturned car, and basically there was a kid in the car seat, and Danny Trejo just immediately crawled into the car, tried to get the kid out. Kid was stuck in there, and with the help of another person, he got the kid out safe and sound. But he was like, what I thought was so cool was like, he was very humble about it. He was like, nah, man, the only thing that saved the little kid was his car seat.
Yeah, and then he also said, like, everything good that's happened to me has happened as a direct result of helping someone else. Like, I think he gave, like, a full motivational speech with it.
Yeah, it was nice. It was just very uplifting, I guess. But I'm thinking, like,
yeah.
Who I am now, if I crawled into a car to save a kid and the interviewer was just like, how do you feel after saving that kid? I wouldn't be like, nah, his car seat saved him. I'd be like, oh man, it was nice to get a feel of what Superman would feel like. You know what I mean? Just saving people. You know, it's part of my call. Like I'd be so narcissistic about it.
Yeah, I would definitely like use it as a flex probably in the future and just be like, yeah, remember that car that got overturned, the baby got saved? Yeah, that was me.
Oh yeah, that'd be in the forefront of my Tinder bio. Instead of having a picture of me, it would just be the article.
Yeah, it'd be the car overturned, and then like, why is your main picture an overturned car? Oh, funny story about that.
Jeez.
I picked the car up and then ripped the kid out of there before it caught on fire and exploded.
Yes, but instead of letting it explode in the street, I tossed the car into the stratosphere so it could explode in the air. It'd have a cool effect that would make the entire sky turn orange, and then everyone would be like, oh shit.
And then she asks, like, but what about all the debris that flies down? And then you're like, don't worry, I had a giant net set up to catch all the debris. You can say I think ahead. I'm kind of pretty good at everything I do.
I'm kind of amazing. You know that kid? He also had cancer, and I cured. I'm sorry.
And I cured it too. Yeah. That kid. Yeah. Clark Kent. Superman. Ever heard of him?
You know, speaking of cancer,
wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for me.
You want to hear some futuristic news?
I'm ready for Futurama season 25.
So, scientists have been able to successfully turn breast cancer cells into fat to stop them from spreading in rats, which is kind of cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the whole process works is that they kind of inject the cancer cells with this chemical that turns it into fat, and those fat cells then become benign and are more like fluid-like, but basically it's no longer breast cancer. But the thing is, with the study so far, is they haven't been able to get all the cells, the cancer cells, but the cells that have been able to have been successfully changed from breast cancer cells to fat cells have stayed fat cells.
That's very good.
Yeah. So I thought that was like a kind of cool like bit of sciencey news, because like when it comes to like cancer research, you never really like you hear a lot about these interesting new medications that you can try or therapies, but this one's like I found kind of interesting because you're like chemically altering what it is.
Yeah, you never hear of like the process of like how they're going to like stop the cancer from spreading. You just hear like, oh, we'll give you some of this, give you some of that, but it's not like, oh, we turn the cancer cell into a fat cell. Like that's pretty fucking cool, actually. Yeah.
And you know, kind of going back on the conspiracy theory thing, do you think there's already been a cure for cancer and it's just been held?
Yeah.
Because
sadly, I do think of that, or I do think that
this article made me think of something like that's kind of not possible in its own way, because like chemo is kind of like the like general use, but like if there is a cure for cancer, every type of cancer cell is not interchangeable. What you would use to cure breast cancer isn't what you would use to cure pancreatic cancer. What you would use to cure brain cancer isn't what you would use to cure mouth cancer. Like there's actually a lot of difference between the type of cancer cells and from just based off of where the cancer is in your body and the type. So that's kind of why I feel like the cure for cancer is like such a uphill battle. Like one of the big reasons that we don't really think about. It's just because like there isn't just one cure all, or maybe that is what some groups are working towards, but more often than not, from what I've seen, you're more or less trying to cure this specific type of cancer.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't actually think that, like, they're holding on to a cure for cancer and they're just not letting it out because the hospitals make a fuck ton of money off, like, cancer patients, shit like that. But, like, I always find it interesting how much money does go into, like, medical practices and, like, trying to find a cure for cancer. And it's just, like, it feels like we never hear anything that they're making any progress or, like...
That makes sense.
I don't like. Let me re-say. I don't think they're holding out on a cure for cancer for everyone. But
well, I mean, it's definitely plausible. Like, it's definitely not out
Yeah,
of the
like
realm of
it's
possibility, and because it's one of those things where we wouldn't know unless it came to light, you know what I mean? So it's possible. You're not, like, batshit crazy. Like, it's not like you're trying to say, like, the Earth is flat.
well, hey.
Don't even get me started, alright?
Yeah, dude, that is my favorite shit. Is that there's people out there that think the
God,
fucking Earth is
who
flat.
was the rapper that was like, the Earth is flat? Was it BYOB?
B.O.B.?
Oh, B.O.B.
No,
Yeah.
just
Have you heard of B.O.B. since that shit? No. Because he's a fucking idiot.
well, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was at the end of his career, and that was him trying to stay somewhat relevant. But everyone was just like, "We don't give a fuck about you anymore, bro. Like, try something else."
I was hoping that he was trying to just be like a tier 8 memist and was just pulling the shit out of everybody. But when he doubled down, I was like, oh no, man. Come on.
Yeah.
What about those airplanes?
Well, there was like a whole, yeah, right. There was a whole Netflix documentary on like flat Earth, and I never watched it, but just the fact that
What was that? The Curve Your... Shit. What was it called?
Curve Your... I
not
think,
Curve
yeah, I
Your
think it was
Enthusiasm.
Curve Your Shit.
Yeah, not Curve Your Enthusiasm.
Not Curb Your Enthusiasm. That is not at all. But yeah, it's that one's my favorite. Is that there's flat earthers.
It's like be behind the curve, is it?
I think behind the curve.
That sounds
I
right.
think
Yeah,
you're right.
behind the curve. Yeah, just like flat earthers, man. We used to talk about them a lot at the beginning of the podcast, but fuck those people, man.
Yeah, I love that shit.
Go back to like even in like ancient Greece, they knew that shit was round. Like, just fuck off.
Well, it's like
But you think the Earth, everything revolves around the Earth too? You fucking geocentric weirdos.
a little a little geocentric of you guys. But I always imagine that they're like they've only seen maps, and then someone like gives them a globe, and that just scares them, so they never want to believe that the world is round.
The fuck is this?
What?
What?
That's not us.
No,
that's not us.
What? People in Australia aren't falling out of the Earth, idiot.
God. All right, let's not talk about them anymore.
Yeah, because I just get angry.
we stem from turning breast cancer cells into fat cells to flat earthers should just stop existing.
They should be chemically castrated.
Hey, if the Earth is so flat, just jump off it.
Yikes! Is that
big yikes?
That's how they tell it. It's when you get really mad at someone in the flat Earth community, what you tell them to do.
Oh, go jump, go jump off the westernmost point. I can't believe you'd say something like that.
How dare you?
How could you?
Oh God.
Fuck. You
know,
Bernie says he's going to legalize marijuana. That's.
Oh, okay. So
that's
I kind of just wanted to like point out that Bernie Sanders was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and that's an episode I feel like I have to go and watch.
Probably.
But
definitely, probably.
What I thought was kind of cool was like Bernie does like he's all for legalizing marijuana, and besides being a pothead, I think it's just cool that he's using it like it's not something that he's trying to be like, yeah, and I'll also do this, kind of like trying to get the stoner votes. Like that's genuinely one of a big part of his plan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my thing is like, believe me, I love music, a little good Bernie Sanders, but basically every one of his plans is like good in theory, in practice.
Yeah, I mean,
like, yeah, I love this shit, man, but I have no idea how you're gonna make it work without, I don't know, just fucking something else.
No. I mean, in terms of just legalizing weed, like that's just good for tax revenue more than anything. So
yeah, I don't really see a downside to it.
Yeah, but I agree. I feel like a lot of Bernie Sanders policies are like really cool in theory, but I really don't know how they work outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him credit. His idea to like cut student debt was good, to where he'd take like a 0.25% tax. I think it was a lot less actually. I think it was like 0.005% tax on Wall Street. So like 0.005 of what they make goes into like student debt, like repaying that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I've always tried and sound political, but I really don't know what I'm talking about at the end of the day. All I know is I like legalizing marijuana. You got my vote.
Go Bernie!
wait.
Hopefully you can make it to election.
That's true. I know the Democratic debates were kind of like semi-recently. Do we know who's the candidate now?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't. And I'll find that out for you guys next episode. Or just put something in the comments to let us know, because me personally, I try to stray away from all politics as much as I can, unless I want to get semi-updated, but I'll never dive into it.
Let's see. Who are the 2020 U.S. Democratic presidential candidates? There's a lot of them.
Hey, Steven!
We got Mike.
You got
we
it?
got Michael Bennett. We got Joe Biden.
Oh, did you see... Oh my god, Joe Biden said some funny-ass shit a couple days ago.
Joe Biden's fucking...
Or I think it was last week.
Biden's cute as hell.
Yeah, no. Okay, Joe Biden... No, he's not. Joe Biden said,
Don't ask.
poor people have equal opportunities, or poor kids have, like... I think it was poor kids have the same equal opportunity as white kids. And that's how he worded it.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not fucking... Hold on.
Joe, you can't be doing this, Joe.
Oh, let me find it. Oh yeah, poor kids are just as bright as white kids.
No. Joe, what are you doing? That phrasing is just idiotic.
Oh, Joe, good one. Keep them coming, yeah.
Oh boy, okay. You know what? I thought Joe Biden would have got my vote, but maybe he's senile now.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think he just worded it wrong.
Oh yeah.
I
don't think he's actually
give him the benefit of
racist.
the doubt. But yeah, imagine just like saying that shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's hard to backpedal off of.
Yeah, where you're like, no. Actually, what I meant is,
Yeah. Well, you know what? Bernie Sanders for president.
Bernie Sanders
burn.
2020. I'm feeling the burn, don't get me wrong. Give him one last run.
Alright, so I would say the last topic I have is something from Eurogamer, and I guess Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo won't allow loot boxes on their consoles anymore unless publishers disclose the drop rates for their boxes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's becoming pretty prominent in a lot of games lately, which is like how it should have been from the beginning. But
see, that's the thing. I don't think all loot boxes should be taken away, because I think they can be fun.
Oh yeah, I don't think you should take them away, but as long as like you give them the percentage of like the items you can get, like there's a 0.001% chance that you'll get this very rare drop.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
like
As long as people
you are
informed.
well aware of the. Yeah, like you are well aware of the $5 you just slapped in. It's like when CS:GO gambling was the thing, like that shit was nuts. And the fact that there was basically like no regulation on loot boxes at all, and then like the gambling sites and all that.
Dude, I wish I got into CS:GO gambling when it was at its prime.
I mean, to be fair, like it's not like you could make any actual money off that unless you were
I mean,
like the people that owned it.
Call back to an old story. But dude, that was like the peak of the internet though. Like everyone was having like stream sessions where they were just opening loot crates and CS and
Dude, I used to love CS:GO case unboxings.
like exactly. Like it was just like that was the 2016 was the closest we had to world peace.
I agree. At least for
internet,
us.
that is.
Yeah, now we got like fucking 8chans and manifestos everywhere, and it's just like, can we please go back to case unboxings?
Yeah, please. Give me back frickin' Leafy is here and Scarce.
I will pass on Leafy is here.
He was a vital part of the internet.
He was vital, yeah. But I was back when. Do you remember the creatures? When they were still a thing?
Nope.
Maybe not. But they did a lot of case unboxing. But that was actually I don't remember what year that was, but they were the first people that got swatted.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I remember this dude. He was his name was Kutra, and he was playing. I don't remember if he was doing a CS unboxing or if he was just playing Counter-Strike. But that was the first like time someone got swatted from streaming.
Yikes. Oh yeah, dude, all the SWATs from back then. Oh boy, good times. All right, Dan.
Yeah,
The SWAT team should be there in about 5 minutes, so I'd get ready for the door to get kicked in.
What'd you say? Bang! Oh god. I mean, that's not a trend I'd like.
Open
I don't
up!
that trend back. We're good. What is it?
No. There's a meme where there's like a police knock on a guy's door, and the guy calls or knocks back. Like, have you seen that meme?
Probably, yeah.
It's always been kind of something I've wanted to do, is just to like casually fuck with the police when I know I haven't done anything wrong. Like if they knock on the door, just to knock back. Just because I wonder what like a right-minded officer would do.
Probably ask Mark to get the battering ram and knock down the door.
Okay. And on that note, folks, unless Dan has anything to talk about, do you?
No. It's almost gym time for me, baby.
It's almost gym time for Dan. So, with that has been the Frying Pan Podcast, episode 41. Thank you for tuning in, folks. We really appreciate it. And as always, we're on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram. The handle for both of those is the Frying Pan Pod. And we're also on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music, or Stitcher with YouTube. So if you could leave a like or a comment on any of those, we'd appreciate it. Or even maybe a star rating. We would always love to see those. And if you have any constructive criticism, you can always drop that down in the comments, or you can send it over to our email, which is inthepanpodcast@gmail.com. Any form of criticism that is constructive is good criticism, because we do this to get better, and the best way to get better is to hear back from you guys. So, lastly, this has been the Frying Pan Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great rest of your day. I've been Robert D'Onofrio.
It's also been me, D'Onofrio. Robert.
It's been us. The Double Dawn.
Double Dawn.
Have a good one.
See you later, alligators.
Oh, thank God. I had to sneeze so bad. I started slowly speaking because I was trying not to let that shit just, like, squeak out. I heard that.